Thank you. Lovely. Meryl, absolute pleasure to meet you. Our New Zealand fans will be absolutely thrilled that we're getting a chance to talk to you, so thank you for your time.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And now you're putting the movie out, you're touring the world and premiering Mamma Mia
Yes.
all over the place. It must be very exciting.
It is. It's overwhelming because you realize that ABBA has fans right across the globe. Someone told me that one of our biggest anticipated markets is Korea and Japan. So, I mean, it's amazing.
Seeing you on the red carpet with the band, with all the ABBA members together for the first time in such a long time, how was that?
Oh, that was a thrill. Because we'd worked really closely with Benny and Björn, but I had never met Frida or Agneta. I met Frida in London at the London premiere, and Agneta came to the Stockholm premiere, and she's the most elusive one. She's the one who's stayed out of the spotlight most, I guess, of all the band members. But she was divine and so generous and so complimentary about the film, and I was really excited to see it in Stockholm because it was the first time I'd ever seen it with an audience, and to see it with an audience that included Agneta and Frida was amazing. I mean, I just was sort of bursting with happiness. It was a high point of my life, no question.
Well, you're now part of the ABBA legacy now after the Rolling
I
Donna.
felt like an honorary ABBA girl, sort of. I still am faux ABBA, but, you know, close.
You certainly seem to be enjoying yourself on this film, Meryl, seriously.
Yeah.
You seem to be loving it. Was it quite a fun production? Colin said it was pretty awesome.
It was really, really fun. Colin has said he felt at certain moments he shouldn't be paid for it, but I'm sure he doesn't mean that. But it was a great group of actors that Phillida Lloyd, our director, assembled. She put together an amazingly interesting and talented cast. And I remember saying to her, in the earliest meeting I had with her, I said, you know, we can only do this. We can really only do this because it's about living joyously. And we can only do this if we really have fun. And we really have fun doing it. So I said, just get a bunch of great people and it'll happen, you know. And she did. She really put together the most wonderful, ebullient, witty cast. And so we entertained each other on and off the set.
Another of your films I've loved recently was Prairie Home Companion. You're obviously comfortable in front of microphones singing. And did you approach the same way? The two boys, Dominic and Colin, were saying the most terrifying thing for them was thinking, you know, we're not singing in the shower here, we're singing with the two guys from ABBA. And they were pretty freaked. How did you feel?
I was intimidated in the very beginning when I first met Benny. I met him in New York, and he flew in on his own jet and sat down at a piano and said, well, we'll just play through all the songs. And I thought, oh, God. Because I realized that this was a little bit of an audition. You know, if it didn't go well, I'd probably be booted off the project. But we sat there and sang all this music for 2 hours and I was walking on air when I left that meeting with him. And after that, because of his have you met him? His generous spirit, you know. He gave us the feeling that we could do no wrong. And so with that permission, the songs became ours. And that was a great gift of his.
If you add that, these are really strong female characters, and the character of Donna, when I first saw it on stage at the West End, it was owning a certain femininity that's very now, if you know what I mean. And then you bring these ABBA songs, and you think, you know, they were written in the 70s, and they're now, and they are really empowering.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's just they don't write many things about three middle-aged women in the central roles, you know, and then putting Mr. Darcy and James Bond to the side. I mean, just the cheek of that. It's fabulous.
They seemed fine that they were marginalised.
Yeah,
they were quite happy about it.
Yeah, they like being sexual objects, I'm sure.
This seems to be a good year for the chick flick, Meryl. I mean, Sex and the City just blew the box office out of the window, and studio execs are kind of sitting up and going, oh, we can make, you know, movies that are so completely, you know, targeted towards women. Do you think Mamma Mia is a similar kind of phenomenon?
I think that studio executives will never learn this lesson until they're all, half of them are women, and then they'll already know that.
Yeah.
It's always, every year, it comes as a surprise to the executives that last year, 2 years ago, Devil Wears Prada took them just completely by surprise. They couldn't believe that it was such a big hit. Sex and the City has taken them. So when are they going to learn this, you know? Same with Mamma Mia had a budget about this big compared to Spider-Man, Batman, any of the man films. They're, you know, the budget is overflowing and it's always forthcoming, no problem.
And you've got to blow stuff up. That's expensive, isn't it, blowing stuff up?
Yes, but a musical is expensive too, but we managed to do it really, you know, on a tight, on a diet. So, yeah, I'm hopeful that they'll learn that they can, that there will be a market for these entertainments, but they seem to need to learn the lesson every year.
With a woman with such an extraordinary resume as yours, Meryl, do you find you are getting those scripts that are coming across that you were still finding appealing, with roles that you really want to take?
You know, I've never worked more in my whole life than I have this last year. I can't really figure out why, but I've made 6 films this year. I didn't do that when I was 29 or 34 or young and hot and happening. I don't know why it is, and they've been very big, sort of difficult roles. It's sort of mystifying and very gratifying, but I'm not looking the gift horse in the mouth, you know. Could be a real drought next year. So
nah, unlikely. Unlikely. Now, we haven't had you down to New Zealand yet, but apparently Sam Neill's been threatening to get you down, is that right?
No, I've been threatening Sam Neill that I'll show up on his doorstep because I heard about the vineyard.
It's a good one too.
Yeah,
It makes a very, very good Pinot Noir.
Yes, no, I've always wanted to visit New Zealand, and I thought I was going to be able to get there on this trip, but now we have to rush back because they've moved our opening up in New York. And
oh, right. So from here it's on to the onslaught in the States.
Yes. So
will it feel good to take it home?
It opens down under before it does in New York. So
nice. We'll be grateful for that. So are you taking your family along to the opening in New York?
My family hasn't seen it yet. My middle daughter saw it in London because she's working in Rome this summer. So she came up for the opening and she was dancing in the aisle. So I'm hopeful that the others will be pleased, but you never know. There's great disapproval, especially from the youngest ones.
Disapproval? That doesn't sound fair.
It's the spandex they're all afraid of.
Right.
But, you know, you have to live with these things.
You do. So Donna and the Dynamos isn't going on tour anytime soon?
I don't think so.
Meryl, thank you so much. You've been an absolute delight.